These are the notes on MLA formatted works cited pages. Use the note sheet that you received in class in order to take the notes on how to create a properly formatted works cited page for your research paper. First and foremost, let's talk about what a works cited page is. A works cited page is a separate page at the end of a research paper that alphabetically lists the citations of the sources of information that are either quoted or paraphrased, meaning that they were cited in your paper. So if you have given a parenthetical citation in your paper, you must list the entire citation, the information on where to find that source again, in your works cited page. MLA Works Cited Pages are intended to give credit to authors or editors of the books, internet, or database sites that you have used for your research, and all entries in the Works Cited page must be sources that you actually use in the paper. This is different from a bibliography page where you might have listed all of the sources you had looked at in your research. However, a Works Cited page is specific to those works you actually cited, meaning that you gave a parenthetical citation to in your paper. It is pretty much a list of the source cards you used in your paper. So all of the information that you used on your source card is what you're going to plug into your works cited page. How are you going to find all of that information again? By looking at your source cards and listing it on your works cited page. So here is what a properly formatted works cited page looks like. You want to make sure that you're copying down the words that are in the boxes so you can label all the necessary elements of a works cited page. This would be a totally separate page in your paper. So for instance, if you were on page 5 with your writing, you would then go on to page 6 to create your works cited page. You would start with your last name and page number in the paper. If you're just putting this straight into your research paper, this should automatically change it to the appropriate page. You're going to start with the title, Works Cited, totally plain, Times New Roman 12-point font. You notice nothing fancy is done to it. And you are going to center your title just like you would center the title of a research paper. Then you're going to list all of your citations alphabetical according to the first word of the citation. So for instance, the first word in this citation is anthus, which is A, so that's going to be listed first. Then you have G, an author's last name, but notice it's in the citation for It's My Life, a website from PBS Kids, is going to be alphabetized according to I because that's the first word of the citation. So you'll notice that everything should fall within alphabetical order according to the first word of the citation. Then last but not least, you want to use these indents called hanging indents. These are kind of the opposite of paragraphs. Whereas a paragraph, you would indent the first line and then none of the other ones. When you use hanging indents in a works cited page, you actually don't indent the first line, but you indent all the second and any other lines that follow. And this is how you create your works cited page in MLA format. This is how you properly list all of the sources, all of the information you put on your source cards in order to create your works cited page. For your practice activity, you have in your handout a list of a couple different strips of citations and things that would be used in a works cited page. What you should do for this activity is write out the number representing the order in which the strips on your paper would be arranged if you were creating a properly formatted works cited page required for your research paper. So, like we just talked about, you have to look at the first word of the citation and figure out how it's going to be organized. But I've also included in here a header and a title for the page. So you have to figure out where that might go. Maybe that comes first or second, or maybe it comes in the end. You have to look at the sample one and see where it would be formatted. And you're just going to list the numbers in the column on the left. There is one that will not be used. If that's the case, just cross it out or write NA in the column for order number. Before you come to class, you want to make sure that you have updated your source cards. Tomorrow we're going to start our investigation of the website noodletools.com, where we are actually going to create our works cited pages. Therefore, it is extremely important that you update your source cards and that they are correct in order to be able to enter all of the necessary information into the website tomorrow to be able to create your works cited page. So when looking at your source cards, you should be able to pull out all the necessary information with regards to what kind of source you're working with. So if you're working with a database article, for instance, you should be able to pull up the article title, the database title, the magazine, newspaper, or journal, the author, if there is one, the publication, if you're, the publication date and date of access, all of the information that you wrote down on your source cards, you want to make sure is correct. We will use all of the information in your source cards tomorrow to create our Works Cited page on Noodle Tools. If you have any questions on Works Cited Pages, please make sure that you ask them in class. See you later.